Hello, hi. So, good evening, on all. In this class, we'll be discussing about five very important topics. That is, Consolidated Fund of India, Contingency Fund of India, Public Accounts of India, Appropriation Bill, and what is vote on account. Okay, and we'll also discuss about interim budget. Just a small brief about interim budget. What is interim budget is. So what these three, why these three, and along with this two, very important is that these are Indian government's fund. Okay, these are the ways in which Indian government's fund are kept. Okay, so to discuss before discussing these three types of funds and about appropriation bill, which is related to these three type of funds and vote on account, we got to see about know about the overview of the accounts of India, the government of India. Okay, according to the Comptroller and Auditor General of India (CAG) in their site, okay, according to their briefing, so India has the most distinctive feature of you know classification of the transactions. Okay, how all the transactions are classified. Okay, so these financial transactions are classified as six tier. Okay, so all these six tiers are uh, the major heads of the transactions are classified. Okay, on the top, and the object head and the activities are classified on the bottom. Okay, in the intermediate level, it is represented by sub functions and programs, schemes, and sub schemes. Okay, these six tier function classification, this will be very useful for you while you're writing your mains examination. Okay, this will be a very good add-on point. Okay, when you're writing your examination, if you're going to present that, or the financial transaction of the government is in six tier functional classification, so it will be an add-on point, and the evaluator will be happy to see that you have an in-depth knowledge of how or Comptroller and Auditor General's office functions. Okay, then another thing is that our country follows plan-based model and non-plan-based model of economy. Okay, the expenditure of government is divided into planned and non-planned manner. Okay, as a name suggests, the planned expenditure is directly related to expenditure on schemes and programs. Okay, then the non-planned expenditure is the expenditure incurred on establishment and maintenance of the activities. Okay, on the establishment and maintenance of other activities. So now let's come into uh, the topics. Okay, the Constitution of India provides for the manner in which the accounts of our government have to be kept. Okay, so the articles classify or the funds into consolidated fund, contingency fund, and public accounts. We'll go into deep about what a consolidated fund means. All revenues, okay, of the government of India received, all revenues received, and the loans raised by the government of India, and all monies received by the government in repayment of the loans are credited to the consolidated fund of India. Okay, so all the revenues received and the loans raised by the government for its functioning, and all monies received by the government in repayment of the loans, all are credited to the consolidated fund of India. Okay, it's like a coffer in which all the funds are kept. Okay, and all expenditure of government are inquired from this fund. Okay, so all the funds are received in this consolidated fund of India, and all the expenditures of the government are taken inquired from this consolidated fund of India. It's kind of the consolidated fund is kind of the bank account of the government of India. Okay, it's coffer. Okay, so money can be spent through this fund only if sorry only if appropriated by the parliament, that is only after getting the permission from the parliament. Okay, so only from the parliament the fund can be, the money can be spent by the government of India. So for this reason the appropriation bill which we saw is being used. So we'll come into detail about the appropriation bill in later part of this session. The consolidated fund has further been divided into revenue and capital division. Okay, so in this, what you got to remember is that these are the things: the revenues received by the government, that is the taxes and all other expense, all other revenue source to the government. The revenues received, all kind of revenues received by the government, then the loans which the government get, and the money received by the government for repayment of loans. Okay, all these are credited to the consolidated fund of India. Okay, so now all the expenditures are you know all the expenditures are taken, incurred from this fund. Okay, so all other monies received by, on behalf or by or on behalf of the government, other public institutions which receive the money, okay, are credited to the public account. Okay, so this is the key difference between the consolidated fund and public account. We'll come into it. I'll tell you the detailed variation between the public accounts and the consolidated fund. So according to the article, so whenever we study, this is the current affairs part, and now the static part of I'm taking this consolidated fund because it came in the current affairs part. Now we should get into the static part of the the current affairs, that is where in or polity section this consolidated fund reflect. It is reflected in 266. Okay, clause 1. So the consolidated fund and public accounts of India, article 256 deals with the consolidated funds and public accounts of India. Article 267 deals with the contingency fund, which will come into the later part of the session. Okay, so the important section where here all revenues received by the government of India, all loans raised by the government by issue of a treasury bill. Okay, treasury bill, loans. We'll see about this treasury bill and other type of bills later in the session. Issue by treasury bills, loans or ways and means, advances. We'll discuss in later section. Okay, and all monies received by the government in repayment of loans shall form one consolidated fund to be entitled the Consolidated Fund of India. Okay, so similarly each and every state will have a consolidated fund of the state in a similar manner. So there will be a consolidated fund of India for the Union of India, and government of India will have a consolidated fund, and government of each state of the union will have their separate consolidated fund. Okay, this is all you got to know about the consolidated fund of India. So now what are called as the charged expenditure of consolidated fund of India. Okay, so these are non-votable charges. Okay, non-votable charges, that is, as we saw, the consolidated fund of India, the consolidated fund need appropriation, that is permission from the parliament. Okay, so these charged expenditure are the expenditure which are charged, incurred out of the consolidated fund of India, okay, without the permission of the parliament. Okay, so these are the charged expenditure. So here no voting takes place for this amount which is spent from the consolidated fund of India. Okay, so if there is going to be a statement in the examination stating that there is the charged expenditure of consolidated fund of India will also need the appropriation of the parliament. If there is going to be a statement, means the statement is wrong. Okay, so there is no approval needed by from the parliament to spend on the charged expenditures. Okay, these are paid whether or not the budget is passed. Okay, whether or not the budget is passed, these charged expenditure are paid. So why these charged expenditure are given such an importance? Because the emoluments, allowances and expenditure of the president and his office, salary and allowances of the chairman, deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha, Speaker, Supreme Court judges, Comptroller and Auditor General, Deputy Speaker of the Lok Sabha. All these charges are inquired from the Consolidated Fund of India. So here, if you are going to see a president or the Supreme Court judge, okay, or the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, that is the vice president, or the speaker of the Lok Sabha, and the Comptroller and Auditor General, everyone should act independently without any influence from the government, and they need independence. As we see, there should be an independent judiciary for a better democracy. Okay, the records, the accounts should be kept in a proper manner. So the independence of the Office of Comptroller and Auditor General is imperative. Okay, so for the proper functioning of the legislature, okay, the speaker's independence is very important. Okay, so independence of executive judiciary is very important. So because of that, all these their salaries are kept in the Consolidated Fund of India. The government does not have any say in the salaries of these people. Okay, so if we are going to need a permission from the parliament for paying them the independence of all these establishment will be questioned. So these are kept as the charged expenditure, that is the without any permission from the parliament, their salaries will be credited without any hindrance. Okay, another example of charged expenditure is debt charges of the government. Okay, the debt, the loans which the loans which the government got, these are not voted because these payments are deemed guaranteed by the state on any occurrence, whether there may be a war, there may be a famine, okay, there may be the reduction of salaries for the government employees and any other because of any COVID-19 kind of situation. At any cost, their salaries are credited for, because to maintain independence of these establishment. Okay, so even though voting does not take place, discussions on these can take place in both houses, and the house has independence to conduct any discussion about the charged expenditures. Okay, then so now these are the few kinds of, as we saw, the emoluments of the president, the chairman and the deputy chairman of the Council of States, and the speaker and the deputy speaker of the House of People. House of People is Lok Sabha. Okay, Lok Sabha. Council of States is Rajya Sabha. Okay, so debt charges of which the government of India liable, including interest, sinking fund. So we'll be seeing about the sinking fund, redemption charges, and about other kind of debt instruments. Okay, so all these are covered in the Consolidated Fund charged expenditure. So the judges of the federal court, judges of the high court, okay, then the salary allowance is pension payable to in respect to the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Um, okay, then the constitution gives the power to parliament to add few other institutions also into this Consolidated Fund of India charged expenditure. Now we'll see about the public account. What is public account? So by definition, public account of India, okay, of India accounts for flows of those transactions where the government is merely acting as a banker. Okay, so the fund was constituted in Article 266, Clause 2. It accounts for the flow of those transactions where the government merely acts as a banker. Okay, example of these public account is Provident Fund. Each and every employee will be paying a Provident Fund. Okay, will be paying a Provident Fund. So, as we saw, the examples of these are provident fund. Each and every employee will be paying his PF. Okay, this provident fund will can be remitted by him during when he shift his job or when he retires. Okay, and all of the small savings like post office accounts, everything will be brought into this public account. These funds do not belong to the government. They have to be paid back at some point of time to their rightful owner. Okay, because of this nature of the fund, the expenditure from it are not required to be approved by the parliament. Okay, so this is the static part. Article 266 clause 2, all other public money received by or on behalf of the government of India or by the government of a state shall be entitled to the public account. Okay, public account of India or the public account of the state, as the case may be. Okay, so now what is a contingency fund? Look, before getting into this, I'll give you a simple explanation of this. Consolidated fund are the fund which the government where the government receives its revenue and spends its money for its schemes. So for this, the government should have a proper record and it should get the permission of the parliament. Okay, like passing the appropriation bill, and it should get the permission of the parliament for each and every scheme. So at some point there may be uh, the government may the government may need to spend on excess apart from this consolidated fund. Say for example the COVID-19. Okay, due to this COVID-19, government should have spent a lot of money on on the healthcare society, on the healthcare sector. Okay, on the healthcare sector for as an emergency emergency or unexpected expenditure. Okay, so at this scenario, this contingency fund comes into play. Okay, at this scenario, this contingency fund comes into play where the government will take the fund. The government will set up a fund, has set up a fund for its emergency expenditure. Okay, without going to the parliament or asking the parliament to grant by passing an appropriation bill and asking for it, because the government does not have time for that. Okay, for constituting for gathering the assembly and getting the permission of the parliament will take time. So when the government does not have time for that, the government will, it's kind of a emergency piggy bank where the government can take the money from it and repay the amount into it. Okay, this is called as contingency fund, emergency fund. Okay, so the contingency fund enables the government to meet unforeseen expenditure which cannot wait approval of the government. Okay, for meeting such exigencies, advances are made to the executive from the contingency fund, which are subsequently reported to the parliament. Okay, even though they spend without the approval of the parliament, its its report should be submitted to the parliament for recoupment of the from the consolidated fund of India. Because once the government spends, say for example, government is spending like a 500 rupees from this contingency fund, it should be recouped. Okay, from where there as of now 500 crores has been kept in the contingency fund. Say for example, government is taking 500 rupees. Okay, now this 500 the 500 crores short of 500 rupees, where but the contingency fund should be 500 crore at all time. Okay, that is the rule. So where this 500, where the government will uh, you know repay this 500 from, it will be repaid from the consolidated fund of India, because after reporting to the parliament, the government will get the approval of the parliament for the repayment of this 500 rupees, and the 500 rupees will be sent back to the contingency fund. Okay, as simple as that. Now Article 267 deals with the contingency fund of India. Okay, the Parliament may by law establish a contingency fund in the nature of an interest to be entitled the contingency fund of India, into which shall be paid from time to time such sums as may be determined by such law. and the said fund shall be placed at the disposal of the President to enable advances to be made by him out of such fund for the purpose of meeting unforeseen expenditure. Okay, so as of now we saw three kind of funds. Okay, consolidated fund, contingency fund, and public accounts of India. So we'll see the we'll have a brush up session, as well as we'll see the where its income comes from, where do they spend their expenditure, and the parliamentary authorization, need for parliamentary authorization. Okay, so for consolidated fund of India, taxes and non-tax revenues. Okay, their income are from taxes and non-tax revenues. So for contingency fund of India, there is a fixed corpus of 500 crore. But now in 2021, the government of India has proposed to raise this contingency fund to 30,000 crore. Okay, 30,000 crore rupees. Okay, from 500 crore to, it was actually before it was 50 crore rupees, Indian national rupees, and now it has been raised to 500 crore. Now the government of India is planning to raise, has proposed and planning to raise it to up to 30,000 crore. Okay, so public account of India. Okay, all the public money other than those under the consolidated fund of India. So where the monies are being spent. Okay, all the expenditure of government of India are inquired from the consolidated fund of India. Contingency fund is spent on unforeseen emergency expenditures. Okay, public accounts, public money other than those under consolidated fund of India, all the expenses other than the expenditure which is being spent in the consolidated fund of India. Okay, do they need parliamentary authorization? Yes, consolidated fund of India require parliamentary approval. Okay, contingency fund of India also need parliamentary approval, but after the expenditure. Okay, the difference is that consolidated fund of India, before taking the money out of this consolidated fund of India, government should ask the parliament, should get the permission from the parliament. But here in contingency fund, government can spend and it submits the report to the parliament. But for public accounts, the government does not require the permission of the parliament. Okay, so Article 266 clause 1 deals with consolidated fund of India, Article 266 clause 2 deals with public accounts of India, and Article 267 deals with the contingency fund of India. Okay, so what is appropriation bill? Now we saw that the consolidated fund of India, the government need to get the appropriation from the parliament to take the fund out of, to take the money out of the consolidated fund of India. Okay, for this the government should pass a bill in the parliament, and the bill should become an act. Okay, this bill is called as appropriation bill. Okay, the appropriation bill gives power to the government to withdraw funds from the consolidated fund of India. Okay, for meeting the expenditure during the financial year. Okay, as per Article 114 of the Constitution, the government can withdraw money from the consolidated fund of India only after receiving approval from the parliament. It is sorry, it is mandatory for the government of India to get the approval from the parliament before withdrawing the fund from the consolidated fund of India. Okay, now this appropriation, okay, okay, so what is the procedure which has been followed during this appropriation bill? Okay, the appropriation bill is introduced in the Lok Sabha. Okay, House of People. Okay, House of People. After discussion on the budget proposal and voting on demand for grants. Okay, the defeat of the appropriation bill in a parliament vote would lead to the resignation of the government. Okay, once it is passed by the Lok Sabha, okay, it is sent to the Rajya Sabha. Okay, so here on the appropriation bill in Rajya Sabha, okay, the Council of States, okay, here the A council of state has the power to recommend an amendment to the bill. Okay. However, if the it is a prerogative of the Lok Sabha to either accept or reject the recommendation. Okay, so in other bills, the even the passage of the bill in Rajya Sabha is imperative, but for appropriation bill, okay, for appropriation bill, the Rajya Sabha's decision is not taken into consideration, but they send the bill to Rajya Sabha. But if it has been passed there, that's okay. But if it sends the Rajya Sabha send back the bill to Lok Sabha for any amendment changes in the bill, the Lok Sabha has the prorogation, okay, to either accept the amendments, that is the changes, or reject the changes. Okay, so after bill receives the assent from the after the bill has been passed in the parliament, the bill is sent to the president. After it gets the assent, once the president signs the bill, it becomes an appropriation act. Okay, the unique feature of the appropriation bill is it automatic repeal course. Okay, whereby the act gets repelled by itself after it meets its statutory purpose. Okay, so the act, it each and every act is you know act of the parliament. Each and what it says is that each and every act of the parliament has its law. It's been a law. Okay, so all the citizens should follow that. But this appropriation act, once the expenses are done, okay, it's why we pass this appropriation bill and act, because we for each and every scheme like Pradhan Mantri Krishi Kalyan Yojana, MG Narega, for each and every scheme the government should is asking a particular amount from the Consolidated Fund of India to implement the scheme. Once in that financial year, once all the requirements are met, this appropriation act will be repelled, automatically repelled without passing another act to repel it. Okay, the government cannot withdraw money from the Consolidated Fund of India till the enactment of the appropriation bill. Okay, however, once again this will take some time. Okay, so the government needs money to carry on its normal activities in the meantime. Okay, for like say for example budget session, if it is going to carry on for 2 months, and the last appropriation bill act amount, the government has spent all the money in the for the schemes for the from the last appropriation act, and the new year needs a new financial year needs fresh fund to run all the government schemes. Okay, at that meantime, to carry on its normal activities, okay, to meet the immediate expenses, constitution has authorized the Lok Sabha to make any grant in advance. Okay, grant in advance. Okay, money in advance for a part of the financial year. This provision is known as the vote on account. Okay, this is called as vote on account. Okay, vote on account. Okay, now we'll see what is vote on account. Okay, a vote on account as defined by Article 116, okay, of the Indian Constitution, is a grant in advance, a money given in advance for the central government to meet its short term expenditures, okay, needs from the Consolidated Fund of India. It generally lasts only for few months till the new financial year kicks in. Okay, so during an election year, the government either opts for interim budget or vote on account. Okay, now let's see what the difference between vote on account and interim budget. Okay, so this vote on account is the amount either, say for example, a financial year before passing a budget. Okay, like the government has spent all its money by December, and its need, say for example by March or April, the new budget is being passed. Okay, so for the next 3 months the government needs some fund to run the government, or say for example by the month of April the bill will be passed, the budget will be passed, appropriation bill will be passed, and before that for 2 months at least it needs some fund to run the government. At that time, vote on account will be carried on, and the government will be asking the parliament to give permission to take some amount from the Consolidated Fund of India. Okay, so interim budget is a budget passed by a caretaker government, or a government which is going to be finished. Okay, like for example, by 2024 the present Modi government will end. Okay, so it's up to the people whether the government, Modi government, will win 2024 or not. So there may be a chance whether a new government can be formed or the same government will continue. Okay, so but it's up to the people. We do not know. So at that point of time, the caretaker government, okay, that is the government which is in power now, is just a caretaker government at this point, at the last financial year when it is going to pass the budget. Okay, so only for few months the government will be in existence. If a new government is going to come, the new government may the new government will obviously change all the policy and bring in new schemes. Okay, so the caretaker government will opt for a interim budget. Okay, for the meantime till it leaves the power, it will ask the parliament to give a permission to spend for its expenditures, amount for its expenditures. Okay, this is called as interim budget. But vote on account, this is carried on only, interim budget is carried on only at the end of the tenure of a government. Okay, but this vote on account can is used in each and every year if it is deemed necessary by the government. Okay, now we'll see few questions, previous year questions on this topic. Okay, so what is the difference between vote on account and interim budget? Okay, the provision of vote on account is used by regular government, while an interim budget is a provision used by the caretaker government. Okay, vote on account, but uh, you know there is a twist in this. Okay, the provision of vote on account is used by a regular government, while an interim budget is a provision used by a caretaker government. Here, this vote on account can also be used by a regular government and a caretaker government. Okay, it is not, it is this vote on account can also be used by a caretaker government, but interim budget is a provision used by a caretaker government. This part of the statement is correct, but this part of the statement is not in the correct form. Okay, so a vote on account only deals with the expenditure in government's budget, while an interim budget includes both expenditure and receipts. This is a right statement. So option is B. Okay, all revenues received by the union government by way of taxes and other receipts of the account of the for the conduct of government business are credited to, as we saw, it is credited to the consolidated fund of India. All the taxes and other income. Okay, the authorization of withdrawal of funds from the consolidated fund of India must come from who should give the authorization? The parliament needs to give the authorization. Okay, the parliament needs to give the authorization. Okay, so thank you. In the next class we will see about the ways and means. Okay, topics on ways and